Hey there, Nap-In from the future here. I know the topic for this video may seem a little bit late, and I'm sorry for that. However, a few weeks ago I tried to upload it twice, actually, and got a week-long suspension for quote-unquote hate speech, which, as you know, isn't even a real thing. It's just YouTube's way of controlling what people say. So I did a bit of re-editing and a couple of bleeps here and there, and I think it's ready to go. So hopefully I don't get permabanned. And thank you for watching. I found an interesting video on one of, the largest trans dudes on YouTube, Samantha Lux, and he did a video called Dylan Mulvaney Needs to Stop.
For today's video, we are talking about Dylan Mulvaney. Well, not specifically Dylan Mulvaney, but more so the backlash that has been surrounding Dylan Mulvaney due to her collaborations with Bud Light and Nike. The conservatives and the transphobes have literally lost their effing minds. Poor Dylan Mulvaney drinking a beer and like wearing a sports bra, they're hating it.
It's not just about this dude drinking a beer. It's about a company well loved by many Americans, mostly Hicks, seeing that mental bullshit that they disagree with is now being plastered on their cans. You know, you're all for stop this, stop that, but when we try to boycott something, all of a sudden we're pussies. Like, fuck off. I can drink whatever I want, and I can also have an opinion on whatever I want and choose to stop doing so. I've never attacked Dylan Mulvaney. I mean, I have an opinion on him, sure. This the most innocent thing I can do is stop drinking a beer or boycott a beer company because I don't want him on my can. Like, stop acting like we're reinforcing a fucking genocide or something.
We're going to be talking about the complaints, the concerns that people have had regarding these sponsorships and these collaborations. And we're going to be watching a few segments from some videos from Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens. Is there an S? Who gives a f***? Just your favorite local transphobes, you know?
Believing that a man who has cut off his penis doesn't have XX chromosomes is biology, and therefore he's not a woman. So maybe it's just basic biology and facts. You know, that cutting off your penis doesn't actually make you a woman. Sorry. Like, Mother Nature's sorry. It's just facts. I don't understand when facts became phobic in any type of way.
Before we get started, I just started a Twitch channel.
No one cares.
Watching the collaborations because we need to see what all the drama's about. We need to see what all the hubbub is about.
Hi! Impressive carrying skills, right?
Bitch, you couldn't even hold your own dick. Don't even.
I got some Bud Lights for us. So, I kept hearing about this thing called March Madness, and I thought we were all just having a hectic month, but it turns out it has something to do with sports. And I'm not sure exactly which sport, but
It's football. You're welcome.
If you dressed a dude up as a woman and told him to act like a woman, he'd act all like flamboyant and animated like this. I don't know why more women don't find it offensive. We all talk about cultural appropriation, yet a man dressing up as a woman and just putting on being a woman isn't insulting somehow. Fucking ridiculous. Oh, look at me. I'm some ignorant, misunderstanding woman. I don't know sports. I'm dressed as a woman. Even if it wasn't someone trans and Bud Light advertise someone who clearly doesn't give a shit about the beer and is on there for reasons they shouldn't be, people would still have an issue. He doesn't even, like, he's insulting the base already.
either way, it's a cause to celebrate. This month, I celebrated my day 365 of womanhood, and Bud Light sent me possibly the best gift ever.
So your chromosomes changed 365 days. How did you do that?
A can with my face on it. Check out my Instagram story to see how you can enjoy March Madness with Bud Light and maybe win some money too. Love ya! Cheers! Go team! Whatever team you love, I love too. Okay.
I think the transphobes are really just jealous that they didn't have their face put on a Bud Light can because, I mean, that's everything.
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm phobic apparently, and my dream has always been to be on a Bud Light can actually, and so the fact that a cross-dresser got it before me, it's breaking my heart.
So this was a Nike partnership on Dylan's Instagram story, I believe. Okay, here it is.
He's a dude. He's a dude. How do you collaborate for women's clothing with a man? How? Tell me how. Also, what woman in their right mind is gonna think, oh yeah, those sport clothes look really good on that actual dude. Now I want to buy them. No one thinks like that. That's so goofy. Ugh.
And people everywhere are very, very upset about this. At least it seems that way to me, you know.
It is just that way to you. I don't think people are upset as much as they are just disappointed and maybe even flabbergasted per se at how we can become so delusional.
Usually when we hear transphobes boycotting companies like they did with M&Ms and stuff like that, it's just because they're transphobic. Duh. They literally just see a trans person and they're like, no, I'm done with you.
That's not it at all. Do whatever you want with you want to cut your dick off? Okay. You're kind of weird for that, I'm not gonna lie, but okay. It's the idea that, it started out as, okay, I want the right to do this, and now it's on my fucking beer can. And you want us all to play in fantasy world too. Cut your dick off and you now have XX chromosomes. That's just not how it works. So it's not being transphobic to bring that up or to want it off such delusion off my beer can and for you to, keep it to yourself. Now all of a sudden, I'm transphobic for speaking on your delusions. Wild. It's crazy, And I mean, obviously, they don't actually think we're transphobic. They need us to seem irrational somehow, and so that just referring to us as a bunch of random shit helps with that. So that's where transphobic shit comes from.
I have some comments of my own. Okay, so first of all, the Bud Light one, as Dylan's dressed up in her fancy outfit, she looks like Aubrey Hepburn.
Looked like Aubrey Hepburn.
I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man.
Part of me does kind of feel bad for Dylan because I feel like these brands are almost taking advantage of her. I'm sure she got paid a lot of money. She better have gotten paid a lot of money for this.
I feel so bad that this dude got paid millions of dollars to dress up as... Let's stop acting like it wasn't a conscious decision for him to choose whether or not to be promoted in this way. Oh shit! Oh my God, they're taking advantage. Really? Like he didn't sign the paper? Like he didn't want the money? No matter what happens, there will always be some type of victimization. This is it. You're seeing it. Even after all this, millions of dollars on a campaign, somehow they're still victimized.
Bud Light had to have known that their audience is not... I mean, you know what I'm trying to say, right? How much of an overlap between their fans and Dylan's fans do they really think there is?
I personally don't think they understood that it was going to go viral in such a poor way. I think that they saw their target audience and thought, well, there's another community out there that we could grab and pull into drinking our beer. And they tried to go to an extreme to get those people, i.e. the more progressive people who aren't drinking Bud Light like the Hicks are. And so they made a lapse in judgment and didn't understand that they were going to piss off their target audience. Just kind of how it works sometimes, you get a shitty marketing department.
In my opinion, I feel like they kind of knew that this would go viral and it would kind of, upset a lot of people. I feel like because of the backlash, they've gotten 10 times, if not 50 times, if not 100 times more exposure than they would have if it was just Dylan's platform. All these different right-wing trans films are picking it up. So I will say it was kind of a good marketing move by Nike and Bud Light.
Stop trying to spin this like it's a good thing. I know you want it to be a reality that everyone accepts. You can cut off your dick and now you're a woman, but they don't. Sure, a lot of exposure, big deal. Not all press is good press. Their numbers say that themselves. So stop with this gaslighting of trying to make it look like it's a good thing. It's not. It was not a good thing for the company.
And now I mentioned that there were a lot of concerns that weren't coming really from transphobes per se, but from cisgender women. It is important to note that a lot of these concerns vocalized by cis women are likely being fed to them by transphobes.
She just brought up the point that I was making earlier, that more actual women should be upset about this, and then she completely dismissed it as women couldn't have possibly brought or come to that conclusion themselves, right? God, dude, what a piece of work.
So besides the cis women that are upset with these collaborations just because Dylan is trans, there is a group of people that is upset with Dylan for the way that they are portraying themselves online. They believe that a lot of the content that Dylan is releasing and putting on their platforms is mocking women, is stereotypical, and just reinforcing negative stereotypes of women. I am also a trans woman. I transitioned 8+ years ago.
We know your cheekbones are way too fucking high.
And I just have to say, like, when you first transition, there's definitely like a learning period and an adjustment period to being yourself, but as a woman.
But that's the thing, though. Your entire existence as a so-called woman is a stereotype. Like, do you understand that? You know, like I'm not actually a woman. I'm gonna dress up as one and act like one. It's a stereotype. It is, absolutely.
There's also a TikTok of Dylan in the woods, and she sees a bug and she freaks out. She's like, oh my god, a bug, ew, 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 ew. Again, just like a stereotype. But all of that being said, I really don't think that that is something to cancel Dylan over.
It would be if he wasn't trans, though, so.
So maybe as Dylan grows and matures, she'll kind of settle down into a more relaxed personality, but also maybe she won't. Maybe this is just her personality. Maybe she's just a super feminine, over the top, flamboyant person. Maybe that's just her personality, and that's totally fine and totally valid.
Hardcore defense here. By his own logic, he knows it's wrong, but he's like tiptoeing around it so hard. Maybe he won't be like this forever. Maybe that's just who he is. Like, you know it's a stereotype and you know it's wrong. Just say it. Just say it.
But now, having addressed those concerns and having acknowledged that there is some, stereotypical behavior happening, I think we also need to acknowledge and highlight the double standard that's happening. Tons of cis women act in stereotypical ways. Tons of cis women have like a bubbly, girly personality.
But that's because they're actually women. So they can do that. God.
With all of that being said, let's take a little listen to what Mr. Ben Shapiro has to say about the Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light collab.
And then Dylan Mulvaney released another video of himself in a bathtub, in a bathing suit, blowing bubbles with the Bud Light. So first of all, just want to point out here how stereotypically ridiculous it is for a man to pretend to be a woman.
See, there it is. This is not about stereotypes. It's about a man pretending to be a woman. It's just because they hate the transies.
You can't just defend or bounce back to every argument with, you're transphobic. He brings up some very good points. You can't just keep saying that. It's not right. And if we start to question the validity of your logic and the biology that actually goes into the discussion, and you just call us transphobic, that's just wrong. When in doubt, transphobe out, I guess. Damn, that rhymed. I didn't mean to do that. But yeah, every time there's some issue, in their case, just call someone transphobic.
And who is the crowd for whom Bud Light is doing this? And the answer is, of course, all of their friends. They're doing this for the earned media. Their assumption is that there won't be a massive number of Bud Light consumers who look at this and go, I'm not buying Bud Light. Like, I'd rather just buy another crappy beer.
The majority of people don't care about this. Like, they really don't.
I got $6 million in lost profits that says fuck you to that little comment right there. So I don't we're gonna find out, and no one's going to your video for information on whether or not this was a success. We're gonna know that they're losing crazy, that they fired their marketing chief, whatever her name was, the lady with the fucking gums. Stop fucking lying, okay? People are boycotting the shit out of Bud Light and they're losing money. Why lie?
They think that they can get away with this, culturally speaking. And pretty much all of the culture thinks this because they live in a magical bubble of their own making.
I mean, they're definitely gonna get away with it. Bud Light has been LGBT friendly for a very, very long time now. They had a gay can, they had a can with rainbows on it or something. Like, they've been openly supportive of the LGBTQ community for a while now, and they're doing just fine. There was a recent study that came out. I mean, I haven't really looked too deeply into it, so don't cancel me if it's not the best study, but it showed that about 3% of Americans think that trans and LGBT issues should be either the first or a secondary issue when it comes to voting. They don't really care.
Oh, very vague description of that. Just because I don't think it's the top priority doesn't mean that I don't think it's important, you know? Maybe like starvation and suicide come first, then maybe trans issues. Just because it's not the first doesn't mean it's not still an issue. Stop trying to like manipulate these points to fit what you're trying to say.
But yeah, now let's get into the more extreme reaction of the two from Miss Candace Owens. Now, she is just wild. She is freaking wild.
I'm watching a dude dressed up as a woman talk about other people being mental, dude.
Which brings me to the greatest civil rights violation of our time, which is taking place right now and that is transgenderism. And I'm going to make a very...
Look at those fucking man hands, dude. Jeez. Like...
It is worse than Jim Crow laws because we are mutilating the bodies of children.
Yeah, you heard him. You heard the... We need to stop this madness. It ends now. We need to stop mutilating infants' genitalia. Down with circumcision, down with surgeries for intersex babies, cancel it all. It's done. That's what we're talking about, right? Right? Am I right? What are we talking about here? I know we're not talking about trans issues anymore because babies don't have trans surgeries. They just don't.
Yes, because obviously children means only infants, right?
Start around Tanner stage 2 of puberty for the most extreme cases, for the children that literally need it, the children that have came out the womb saying that they were trans. And it is medicine prescribed by doctors that is supported by every single major medical organization.
Or the same people who want you to cut off your dick if you're fucking 13 and decide that, you know, you like dresses and ballerinas tomorrow. Don't sit here and tell me that's not how it works. It is. It is. They will try everything to reaffirm the questions that you're having about your existence as male or female.
I know we're not talking about trans issues anymore because babies don't have trans surgeries. They just don't. It makes me so frustrated when people like this with large platforms spread literal lies, literal misinformation, propaganda, whatever you want to call it.
There's a fight for children to, not necessarily infants, but children to have the right to transition without parental intervention, which is obviously a huge issue because kids are stupid and they don't know what they're doing. Yes, kids are fucking stupid. As a kid, I was stupid. I made a lot of stupid decisions, you know? Fucking, I believe in Santa Claus and shit, okay? Kids don't make decisions for themselves. That's ridiculous, especially of this caliber. God, like, what should they drink at 12 too?